Welcome to QI, where tonight we're all kings for a day. Joining me at court are His Majesty King James VI, Jimmy Carr. His Majesty King William III, Bill Bailey. His Majesty King Jeremy the only Jeremy Clarkson. And King Alan Davies. So, before we commence our battle royal, let the trumpet sound. Jimmy goes. Bill goes. Jeremy goes. And Alan goes. Why am I not surprised? Now, here are some kings that I'm sure you're utterly aware of. But can you tell me how they got their nicknames? These are all real kings, and they're real nicknames. Constantine, you should be able to guess where he comes from.
Sorry. Greece.
Of your crown.
Yeah, it's look, it's done that. That's it.
It's a medieval torture.
Yeah, this is what they put round royal dogs to stop them nibbling their stitches.
Imagine the crown, mate.
Has your head lost weight?
It has, yes. Yeah.
It's lost even more hair than when we started. Sorry.
Yes, I do apologise.
You're welcome to take it off.
Bill, try and get it down the other way. Try and get it down the other way.
So I'm going to try and go through it?
Yeah, try and go through it. I think this is... Come on, Bill.
And that's the last we ever saw of him.
That's not good. That's not a good look.
Honestly, you look fine. You look fine.
So like something out of Lord of the Rings now.
I'm going to put this as my passport photo. What do you do? I'm a fighting king. What do you want?
You can take it off now. You can all take off your crowns.
Oh, God, thank you.
If you're more comfortable.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's...
So, this brings us to these names.
Constantine,
Constantine.
Constantine the Great, the first Constantine was...
Is he Greek?
Well, he was a Roman emperor, but he moved the capital from Rome to his new city, Constantinople, and he became Christian. Yeah. And this particular one is a descendant of his, who became very unpopular, and so his enemies claimed that when he was baptised, he was so nervous, he pooed in the baptismal font.
Ah, well, we've all done that.
We've all had nights out.
Yeah.
So they called him Copronym, which is the Greek for crap name.
Oh, I see.
Poo name.
Poo name?
Copronym.
Was he christened then as a child or as an adult? Did he? Because it was worse, I think, as an adult.
But
yes.
either way, it's embarrassing if you're an emperor and that's all they call you is poo name.
Still an emperor?
Yeah, still an emperor. Still emperor. So what were the other ones? Let's have a look. See if you can have any sort of mild guess.
I suppose.
Louis the Universal Spider. He was actually Louis the 11th of France.
Could he climb up the water spout?
No. It's because he had webs of conspiracies all across Europe.
Oh.
It wasn't because he got stuck in the bath.
No. He was friends of Philip the... They all had names. Friends of Philip the...
Spaniard.
Philip the Good.
Oh, right.
The good shows a lack of imagination, doesn't it?
Yeah, Philip the Good.
Good's good, though, isn't it? It's better than Dave the Satisfactory.
That's the best you could have hoped for on your reports.
That's probably what channel we're on now.
Graham the Outstanding.
But, I think he was called good, unfortunately, because he pursued so many crusades, which are not considered good these days, went off to the Holy Lands and killed people.
We'd never do that today.
No. So the next one is King Eystein the Fart.
Is that meant to say Einstein, but he...
No, it is
got it wrong.
Einstein
the fart.
So he farted once?
No, the fart is Norwegian. Speedy, fast, speedy, quick.
Oh, so it's just a typo. Really.
Lost a little.
It's correct in Norwegian.
Lost a little bit in the translation.
He travelled a lot. And he was also the first source we have in writing of ice skating. He described his own ice legs. Exactly.
Yeah, ice legs.
But he was succeeded by his son, whom you will like, who has one of the best names, I think, of any king, Halfdan the Mild.
Halfdan the Mild. Half a mile, good. Dan, isn't that?
Halfdan the Mild.
Yeah. Foreign policy was like, be fine.
Right, let's go to King Ragnar. Why was he called what he was called?
Hairy breeches.
Was he very hairy?
He wore hairy breeches.
Breeches?
Oh, did he really?
His wife made them out of animal hide, and they supposedly were there to protect him. But as you can see, he's here being killed. And how's he being killed?
By his own trousers. She didn't kill the animals before she made the clothes.
His Viking ship capsized off the coast of Northumbria, and he was thrown into a pit of poisonous snakes.
What, in Northumbria?
By the King of England, who was at the time King Ella.
Where did he find these poisonous snakes from then in Northumbria?
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been
adders that would give you a bit of an itch.
It may be a made-up story, but
yes.
Ragnar was eventually avenged by his son, who was called Ivar the Boneless.
That's a great name, what would be that?
He'd be called Ivar the Viagra these days.
Get through railing.
Yeah. And he got his revenge on King Ella. It's a pretty good superpower. In fact, didn't one of the Fantastic Four have that?
In Valiant comic, there used to be Janus, who was an escapology.
A bottom with a J in front.
He could, yes, that's right. And he could get through tiny gaps.
Oh. There you go. Janus.
Every week, he seemed to be in a situation...
A janal situation.
It would be really helpful if he could get through a tiny gap. How the writers kept coming up with these scenarios where the only solution was for Janus to get through a tiny gap, but he was always going through drain grids and that sort of thing.
And avoiding the door that was open. Oh, no. That was too easy, wouldn't it?
Quite often he'd forgotten his keys.
That's King Ragnar, the hairy breeches, been killed by King Ella, looking down on him, in a pit.
Geordies.
But he was avenged by having his ribs opened and his lungs spread out against his chest, which was known as...
Boneless did.
And it was called the... Say again?
What was it?
The Blood Eagle, yes. Very good. Audience, 10 points.
And was he...
He wasn't that boneless if he had a rib cage, then.
No, he did it to his...
Oh, he did it to
his
someone
father.
else?
Yeah.
But presumably, this person was... it was against his will.
Yes,
it wasn't just go then. Hey.
I saw a documentary about heart surgery, and to get through the sternum, they used a power saw.
Oh, I know, it's
it's quite hard to get in there.
Yeah.
Or a little toffee hammer, and it takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
It's a very small power saw. I mean, it's not a great big...
Right, it's not a huge...
It's not a logging thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tiny, tiny...
But when you're over a certain age, they can't risk doing that to you anymore, and they actually go up through the thigh. Well, not the penis.
Cut through the... Whoop, through the penis. Keyhole surgery.
Keyhole surgery, very good.
What I mean... requires a steady hand, obviously.
Don't be absurd. They go up through the anus.
Oh,
so sorry, Stephen.
They got through a major...
Yeah, like your mate through the tiny cracks.
I was called Janus.
I've got a job for you, Janus. There you go. Oh, God, steady, chap.
Stephen, now, I've got a question about farts.
Oh, yes.
Do you think that farts smell before they come out?
I'm not going in to find out.
Quite a philosophical one from you.
If you went up someone, when Janus goes up...
Hold on.
You wouldn't have to hold your nose, is what I'm saying. You'd be free to use both hands.
If you have a colonoscopy... If you were to have a colonoscopy, you know, 24 hours before, you have to take these unbelievably powerful...
hallucinogenics. I'm being taken by a space octopus.
Pushing on. Name a cobra beginning with K.
King.
Oh, Jeremy. A king cobra isn't actually a cobra. It has its own genus, which is, in fact, Ophiophagus, which would tell you... sounds like
Ophiofagus?
No, Ophiophagus.
Okay.
Phagus means... eating.
Eating.
Ophio...
Ophio...
It means snake. So it's actually a snake-eating snake.
A snake-eating snake?
Which is what a king cobra is.
Yes, it is.
Other snakes.
That's right. I saw a cobra eat a snake.
Well, maybe you can make up for your lack of points by making the noise that a king cobra makes.
No, I'm just going out Clarkson again, aren't I? It doesn't make a
what
noise.
You make. It does make a noise. It makes a very distinctive noise.
Was it a... All right, OK.
Does it
Hello!
Very good. So just imitate a king cobra if you can.
Does
Shall I
it
take one
hiss?
for the team?
Does it bark?
Oh, you did the hiss.
It wasn't...
No, Alan did the hiss. But you did the bark, so you get
Does
points
it
back for that.
It does
hiss.
It barks.
What do you mean it barks?
It barks
like a dog.
Like a
Who
dog.
does the research for this?
Do you want to hear it?
It just seems that
Hear
we should
one.
get some... OK.
Here we go.
There you go.
There's no way that's a snake.
Cobra. Fact.
Bring him out. Bring him out.
Just to prove it. You thought he was over and over, but he's here tonight. Please welcome. Sorry.
Can we hear that again?
Stephen Fry's
Can I
party.
just say it was a guess?
Barking cock-alike.
It's a background noise. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like if we play that a few times, it would sound like the TARDIS. Should we just...
Okay, keep going.
See if we can play...
That is...
Anyway, it has a little sort of special place in its trachea and a kind of kazoo-like membrane, and it makes that noise.
I'm surprised we didn't know that.
So,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Kazoo. A kazoo-like
Well, a
membrane.
membrane, yeah. Well, it doesn't sound like one, I grant you. No, I grant you, it doesn't sound like one.
OK.
What else is interesting about king cobras? How venomous are they? How much venom?
Really venomous.
Yeah, they have more venom than any other snake. But it's not
Yeah.
as venomous, but they just have more of it.
They got more of it, and they envenomate more often.
They venomate a lot.
And they chase you.
Yeah, so they're really bad. So
Yeah.
while
They
they can
chase
kill...
you while barking.
Yeah. More venom.
It's warning enough to stay away.
Yeah.
So, now... Oh, dear, why are we just always in this region? It's so unfortunate. Why might a Frenchman want this up his bottom?
Because the French love shoving things up their bottom.
Oh, this is... It's true, if you ask for an aspirin in France, they will... Their first action
straight
is
up the
to...
bottom.
Is it to get tapeworms?
No, it is a surgical instrument, and it was devised for one particular... What's our theme this evening?
Kings.
Who's the most famous king of France?
Louis XIV.
Louis
Louis XIV, the Sun King.
Yeah.
And he was very fond of riding and enemas, as they all were in those days. And
Was he constipated often?
it was worse than that. He developed a condition which has a particular name.
Fecal concreting.
It's in the fecal area. It's when a duct appears between two organs and connects them that they shouldn't be connected. It causes great pain. And it's called...
That's a hernia.
It means a little pipe in Latin.
Ask Ribcage Man, he'll know.
It means a little pipe, and it is... Fistula.
Fistula.
So they're very good, this audience.
So are we doing like sort of QI historical embarrassing bodies?
Anyway, Louis XIV had a terrible fistula, and his doctor... That's the dilator. That's the dilator.
That's what they use for the common man when...
The king had to have that too. He had to dilate it with that. I'm afraid that would have hurt a lot.
Yes, but I'm sorry, we still haven't got to why you'd want to put a cobra up his bottom.
Well, that was in order to pierce and slice the fistula so that it healed.
What?
Yeah, and it worked.
Really?
It worked. So Felix Tassi, who was the name of the doctor, was given an estate and became hugely popular, and no less than 30 courtiers mimicking the king said, yeah, actually, I've got one of those too. You know, it's a really cool thing to have. Suddenly, having a fistula was the thing at Versailles. So he had this huge order book, basically. But to be fair to him, he didn't perform the operation on anyone who didn't need it. He was good enough to spot when people were faking just by trying to mimic a king.
What is the instrument on the left, then? What is that called? Does that have a name?
I don't know if it actually has a name. I guess it's a fistula.
It's called a...
a fistula. Anyway, moving on. What has 20 legs, 5 heads, and can't reach its own nuts?
Wait, hold on. 20 legs, what?
5 heads.
5 heads?
Yep.
Westlife.
Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky, because I know what the Clarkson was.
I presume the Clarkson, shall I?
Yeah, go on.
One Direction?
Oh!
I've got to go somewhere.
It's so behind, Jeremy, it's very sweet.
Some kind of hideously mutated Tyrannosaurus.
Well, it's got the word
squirrel.
king in it, oddly enough. And
Is it a plant?
Sounds like a gypsy band, but it's the Squirrel Kings.
Squirrel kings?
What would Squirrel Kings be?
The best squirrel.
But, yeah.
Well, oddly enough, no, it's really unfortunate. Normally they squirm around on the trees, but sometimes trees exude a sticky sap.
Yes.
And when that happens and the baby squirrels get their tails in the sticky sap, their
In the
tails
lime.
get stuck together, and you can get this, but they're absolutely stuck together.
Oh, that's fucking hysterical. Seriously, they're stuck together.
You are so bad. The audience goes, oh.
It's not. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard of. And they're never going to be organised enough to all say, right, ready, steady, all run off in different directions. You'll never be able to do that.
But eventually, I'm afraid they will perish.
If you saw the damage squirrels
They do.
they are appalling rats.
Talking of rats, I know people call them tree rats, and the phenomenon was first spotted in rats in Germany, and there are, in museums and universities in Germany, there are examples of huge rat kings where rats have been shoved together and preserved in alcohol. That's a vast one. It's pretty disgusting looking, as you can see.
Which trees? Are they lime trees that cause this? I want to know specifically. Is it a lime tree that does it?
Just one that exudes a lot of sticky sap.
Well, that'd be
will do
lime,
you. Lime
presumably.
does exude a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And some trees, of course, exude a lot.
How do the tails
In the
get
rat's
stuck
case, I
together?
don't know. They may just have got
Not the
tangled
rats,
and
no,
they
I'm
stuck.
more interested in the squirrels.
I'm not going to be the one who teaches you to murder squirrels.
They must be
It's
when they're
not
little tiny
murdering, it's
babies.
pest control for the sake of Britain's woodland. They go up a tree and they get it on their tail.
Yes.
What makes them then go near another
Well, they
one?
wriggle over each other as they look for their mother's milk, because they're still at that
Oh,
stage.
they're baby squirrels?
Yes, they're babies.
Oh, that's a bit sad.
Oh, he has got a heart,
Oh, he's not a
ladies
tough
and
guy. Look
gentlemen.
at you now.
Yeah. We'll catch you in a minute. You'll be caught on camera smearing prit on the bumper of your car.
All right. Now, how could King's Cross Station possibly be improved?
Turn it into a car park.
A wagon mamas.
This was a plan in 1931.
Oh, to improve it?
Was it
The
the
age
Germans' plan?
of optimism and pride and speed and machinery and...
Wasn't it after that?
So was the roof... Yeah,
Glass. Chris runway.
The roof was flat.
Runway.
Yes. It was to have an inner airport for London.
No
on the
way.
roof
What,
of
land-
King's Cross. And look at that design.
What?
How
Was Boris
cool
Johnson
is that?
messing around with the Thames history
Yeah,
when we
no,
could have
isn't
one
that
there?
brilliant?
Well, hang on, it's brilliant, apart from whoever's in the middle, where there's going to be some traffic.
Yeah.
It's controlled.
I can see where the crashes are going to take place.
It's controlled.
No, that's
They had radio.
Wait a
Same
minute.
way,
That's
yeah.
a device for gluing squirrels' tails together, surely.
Isn't it so great, isn't it? And obviously the jet era would have got rid of it because they're not long enough for jet runways, but they are long enough for ordinary prop airplanes.
But light aircraft could land
Yes,
on it.
they
Why would
could.
you? And then people could commute to London and it would be great.
Really great. And they had a series of elevators designed so the airplanes would be hangared in and then lifted up.
That's not just some Form 4B.
They took it quite
homework.
seriously.
That was serious.
Yeah. It is lovely, isn't it? I'm very impressed with it.
Quite difficult to land on a kind of a bend, though, isn't it? Like that.
I think you used the straight bits.
That would have been an amazing pilot's last word. This is tricky.
Now, kingfishers. Most of the kingfishers of the world live near what?
Water.
Rivers.
No, they don't.
Forests.
Kingfishers.
No, most of the kingfishers in Britain live near water.
They live near a
it's
7-Eleven.
But most of the kingfishers in the world
Sea.
don't. No, not near water at all.
Well, why are they called kingfishers?
Because that's a British word for them. Because we, in Britain, see them by the river.
Well, they're called kingfishers all over the world.
No, they're called halcyon in Greek. And they're not called... What do you think they're called?
Well, that's just the Greek
Wapesca.
for kingfisher.
Halcyon, exactly, but it doesn't mean fisher.
There it is, fishing.
It's in Britain. In Britain.
And fishing again.
In Britain.
He does, I mean, the evidence is
In
there
Britain.
behind you.
Not to a magician. It
No, but
isn't.
if you go to
Somewhere
Africa,
that isn't Britain,
Africa.
for example.
Well, I've seen a kingfisher that not anywhere near a river. You're right.
Yeah, they
absolutely
mostly...
right.
And
in
it was
Africa,
all like this.
Yes,
no,
it was.
mostly in Africa, they live in disused termite nests.
It looked lost.
They live in disused termite nests.
You haven't got a fish on your bill, have you?
Yes. It's a river around here. Yeah. Water, really.
What is the colour of that kingfisher?
It's so turquoisey, really, isn't it?
It's brown.
It's brown.
Yeah.
This programme's getting more and more ridiculous.
It is actually a sort of optical illusion. In fact, the actual colour pigment is brown, but it iridesces.
Well, I must remember, I'll go to the middle of the Sahara Desert and get one, and then put it in a darkened room and see what colour it is.
Yeah, perfect.
Sorry, but
Just because it's not near a river doesn't mean it's in the Sahara Desert.
are you saying that the colour it is isn't the colour that it appears to be?
No, because all colour is perception. Just about a wavelength of
But
light.
that's kind of what I meant by colour.
Yeah, but
that's a bluey colour, that colour.
But if you examine it in terms of its actual pigmentation,
Right up close,
rather than the way it is presenting with the light striking it.
Oh right, so if I examine it without any light,
no.
Oh, that feels brown.
I just don't understand when you do this on the show. You go, that brown thing is a blue thing, that blue thing is a brown thing.
I know, but iridescence is a very particular quality. In the same way that petrol is not rainbow-coloured, but you put it on water in a puddle and it seems to be, but it's not the colour of petrol.
Pink.
Nobody knows what colour petrol is.
Well, quite, exactly.
Because it goes into your car and see it.
Yeah,
that's right.
They used to have
No one has ever checked.
Nobody's ever got what colour this is.
They used to have pink or blue diesel, didn't they, for
red
farmers?
diesel.
For
which
farmers.
you're not allowed to put in your car, and I don't.
No, quite right.
Evading tax, Jeremy, it's a slippery slope. Go all right.
OK. How many King Henrys of England have there been?
Say it.
8.
There were 9, in fact. Henry II had a son who was known as young King Henry, who, according to the French tradition, was anointed king while Henry II, his father, was still alive. And so he wasn't given a regnal number of 3, but he was king, and he died at age 27 or so. And he was quite an amusing fellow. He was very popular. He died young, but when he was 17, he got in trouble with his father for refusing to turn up home at the castle for Christmas. Instead, he held a feast in Normandy in which he invited only knights whose names were William. It's a randomly peculiar thing to do. Anyway.
So he was actually Henry's the second and a half?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
I love the idea of that party, though. The idea he's been to so many royal events and fancy weddings and gone, I can't remember everyone's name, I feel so impolite. I just want Williams, and then he just arrived and went, hello, William. You all right, William? William.
Yeah, exactly. Saves you having to bother the name, like the Beefsteak Club in London, where all the staff are called Charles, whatever their names are. So you hear people going, oh, hello, Charles, I thought Charles would be in the bar today. No, my lord, Charles was ill, so Charles has taken his place.
Is this a real place?
This is a real place called the Beefsteak Club.
You're a member of that,
I
aren't
am.
you?
Oh, yeah?
It's a very old and distinguished club and very good fun.
That's all right.
Don't mock me.
Yeah, we just go to a cafe, but...
It makes you more real.
Charles. Oh, Charles. Yes, Charles. Yes, a tea, please. 2 teas. Yeah.
The staff from there are probably watching this going, oh, it's that Stephen Fry, he thinks everyone's called Charles. Bloody idiot. Someone's just told you that the first day you arrived. It's a big practical joke on you.
Did they also ask you to go for a long wait?
Now, name the Queen's official residence.
I'll go Balmoral.
Ah! No.
I'm going 2A, Pall Mall.
2A Pall Mall, SW1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say official residence, Buckingham Palace. I meant Windsor Castle.
No! Windsor Castle!
I think actually a submarine is sinking somewhere.
Yeah.
Blenheim.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Sandringham.
Sorry?
Sandringham.
Oh, Alany, woo, not Sandringham.
Feeling left out.
Yeah.
I wonder why they've got three different pictures of it.
pal,
He's got a palace
3A, yes, 3A. Centre Parks, sorry, I don't know. The Eagle's Nest.
Does she have a static caravan?
If you are the American ambassador, but you present your credentials to...
It's actually the Queen.
The court of...
St James's Palace, is that...
That is the right answer. If only I could award you more points than you lost.
speech impediment that made Buckingham
James's
sound...
Palace is the official residence of the monarch. Although she does, of course, spend most of her time in her second, third, fourth, fifth homes. Now, OK, it's time for a little experiment. Here's some potassium iodide. It's a catalyst. Ooh. Yes. My experiment also involves me having, for health and safety reasons, to wear these.
Wow. Cowabunga, dude. You look awesome.
Tell it to a mighty king.
Oh, stop it, no.
I can tell from that sample you've had asparagus.
Well, what that is H2O2. Does anyone know what H2O2 is?
Water,
Yes.
water. Yes.
Water.
Double water.
It's H2O. It's water with an extra oxygen molecule, but it has a different name. They're a good audience. Hydrogen peroxide. Well, that's partly because 3/4 of the women have got blonde hair.
Yeah.
But it's quite unstable, and it's always trying to lose its extra molecule and turn to water and to oxygen gas. And we've mixed it here with some ordinary detergent, some washing up liquid. So could you go and stand next to Bill? Because it's not really violent, but it's kind of...
What?
Let's just say...
Hang on, hold on. When Obama have a human shield
It's all right. You can be this side of him. It's not that violent.
Stephen, you don't seem much concerned with my safety.
You can stand next to Jeremy. That's a good point. It's that much nearer, Alan. It's really that... You'll see it's not going to be that violent.
dangerous.
It isn't dangerous. It isn't dangerous.
Just hold me.
Oh. It's basically...
Don't sit on my knee.
Don't stop.
Here we go.
I like
Are you
this.
ready? Do you want to count me down, audience? Count me down from 3. 3...
Or what comes next?
2, 1... 'Quite a money shot.
Stephen, are you suggesting if I get some of that potassium...
That will really make you perform in bed? No. Well, that's
amazing.
Magnificent.
Oh, yeah, that's it, baby.
He's going, yeah.
It's a rather horrible yellow at the edges, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it does get like that. Yeah. Do you know what? I've been away.
Anyway, that brings us to the final scores while it's still flowing. And let's have a look here.
I'll have to hurry you because you're going to be invisible.
Last place with minus 38 points, it's Jeremy Clarkson. Second equal with minus 19, Bill and Jimmy. Deceive me. Tonight's runaway winner with minus 18, Alan Davies. Well, an unquestionably knowledgeable audience takes the ultimate palm with plus 8. So, from Jimmy, Jeremy, Bill, Alan and me, good night.